afternoon, college football fans. Well, guess what? Here we are. College football has returned. There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to enter this show. And there's no other way than to get things going than with the greatest sport ever in the history of ever. At the greatest level, in my opinion, college ever. That's right, y'all. Here we go. It is my cup of tea, and I am serving myself up a nice cup of that college football tea as we get ready for the entire season. College football has returned. If you love football, y'all, well, you are at the right place. Well, if you love college football, that is. Get ready as myself, your boy Larry B, and all of my colleagues get ready to bring you tons of college football from everywhere. I'm talking about freaking everywhere. The Triple CAA, the NJCAA, the NAIA, NCAA Division III, NCAA Division II, the FCS, NCAA, AA ball, and of course, the big one, NCAA Single A, the FBS. Ladies and gentlemen, you are officially tuned in to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, football fans, or shall I say college football fans. It's just a different type of a different type of football fan, y'all. I am so hyped up for this. Y'all know I love the NFL. You know I love football. You know I'm talking about Arena League and college and the Canadian League and the NFL, of course. But my gosh, there's just one to me that stands out among all the rest. And there's a huge reason why I love college football more than any other sport out there whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all about the heart and the soul of this sport and those who play it. And that's all there is to it. I will tell you a million times over, I will love college football more than I will ever love professionals. But I just feel that, you know, it's just my thing. I love it. I was in the Beast. I played in the NCAA. Of course, it was only Division III, but hey, I played in the Triple CAA and in the NCAA Division III. And I'll tell you right now, y'all, college football, there is nothing like it. It's just every week you get out there and ball out for your colors. It's not a franchise. There's no pay. You're playing for your school. You're playing to get better, to move on to the next level. You are playing for a chance at the next level. You are playing for so much more than just money. Of course, when it gets to the professional leagues, hey, I'm not going to knock it. I love it. You know, I love the NFL. You know, I love my Oakland, soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders. But at the end of the day, I once heard from somebody before. I think it was Blake, H-Town Blake Henley. As a matter of fact, I do think it was Blake. He will not be joining us today, but he'll be back on with us next week. We're going to record some segments with him. And, of course, the show will be on Sundays, but today, the day fell a little short. Of course, I think all of you know me right now with my crazy busy schedule. But regardless, he said something that I cannot ever top when talking about why college football is just the king of football. He said something absolutely amazing. That somebody once told him, I think it's how it went, that when you're in the stands for a professional game and you say, oh, we, yes, don't get me wrong, I will talk about my Raiders and refer to us as we because I am a lifelong fan. I will forever be a fan, and that is my team. However, when you cheer for your college team, no matter how old you may get, even if you're a youngster and you're planning on going to that school one day, we is literally we. Okay, of course, the future, prospect athletes and future prospect students, I mean, hey, if you're going to go there and you know it, well then, hey, no matter what, you're always going to be a part of the team. And I will always say, too, even me as a USC fan, I didn't go to USC, but I would always refer to us as we. Of course, this is my team. That's like going to the professional aspect of it. But when it is your school, and you actually went there and attended there, and you have your degree from there, and you went there, or it doesn't matter, you graduated or not, you went there. That was a part of your life. That's something that no one can ever take away from you. So when you say we, It's literally we. You can graduate from whatever school you want to, and when you go back to that school, you are always ingrained in that history, and the history is always ingrained in you. You always will be a part of that team. Those colors will always be your colors. You attended that school, that is your school. And I just love the fact that, and that goes for all college sports, okay? But, of course, me being a football guy, of course, college football. But I love it because that's exactly it. That is your team, your school. You will forever be that team, that school. And I just absolutely love that aspect of it, and it's awesome. So whether you're a part of the student body, staff, or just a lifelong fan, I mean, it doesn't matter. Even a casual fan, I mean, it is what it is, but I just feel like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're a true diehard for your team, and that's all there is to it, and I absolutely love college football for that. So, with that said, y'all, and college sports as well, but with that said, we have ourselves a pretty fun show coming up for you today. Not the long haul, definitely not a very long show at all today, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good one, and I really hope you're all tuning in and getting ready to check it out, because this show is like no other. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and diss any other college football podcasts out there. All the other college football podcasts out there, do your thing. Nothing but love coming from us here on 3 and Out College Edition. But we go deep, y'all. We cover, and if y'all other podcasts out there do too, well, that's awesome. But hey, we do our best here to do it as well, because we are talking all kinds of good stuff. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, come on now, y'all. Our vision of college football is extremely deep. I love to talk about everybody. It doesn't matter what level. Okay, because in my opinion, we all work hard no matter what level you play at, and it's awesome to see those smaller school guys get there. So I'm all about the smaller school, but don't get me wrong. I think for anybody who knows me and who listened to the show last year, I'm about the big schools too, but I'm not going to leave out the little schools. So if this is not your cup of tea, then I guess this just isn't the show for you. But if you love college football, we are going to be following players this year. If you guys are Last Chance U fans, well, I hope you're ready. If you guys are just overall college football fans, well, then be ready, y'all. We're going to be looking at players. We're going to be looking at schools. We're going to be looking at rankings every week. We're going to be looking at all kinds of awesomeness that goes along with college football. And I mean, it is something that us as college football fans and former college football players like myself are just forever ingrained in. And that, of course, is college football for what it is. A community, a brotherhood, okay? And for all college sports, hey, a sisterhood. And if there's ever female college football one day, that'd be awesome for that too, a sisterhood. But I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, these are our teams. We go into battle with these teams every week. Whether we're watching on TV thousands of miles away, whether we're down the street in the same city watching that team, or whether we're in the stadium with that team, either as an alum in the student section, or, once again, as a soon-to-be, student or athlete at that school, or student, or doesn't matter. As long as you're a diehard, that's all that matters, y'all. So, with that said, let's go ahead and jump on into this season, because it's going to be a fun one, y'all. First things first, I got to say, all glory to God. Without God, nothing is possible. That is right. All glory to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without Him, nothing is possible. And of course, big ups and big shouts to all you listeners out there, because without you, IE Sports Radio is not possible. So we appreciate y'all, and thank you so much for showing us love each and every week. And with that said, jumping on in, because we're going to be starting kind of quick today, because we're getting right on into the junior college. But with that said, I want to introduce my co-host for today. This guy is like literally, whenever I need this guy, he's there, man. So he's our new scheduler at IE Sports Radio. He's taking on some pretty big roles here. And what can I say, man? The guy is just blowing up, and he's one of my entire team is my right hands. What could I say? My right hand, my left hand. I'm not gonna say, for sure everyone's got their place here at IE Sports Radio, including myself. I'm no better than any of my colleagues. and lots of them are better than me. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome my co-host for today. He's a writer for The Pilot. He covers some high school lacrosse, and of course, he enjoys himself some college football as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming one of the hosts of Bases Loaded here on IE Sports Radio, along with Mr. Blake Henley, H-Town Blake, and Brandon Buckingham, as well as my co-host on The Defining Moment, and of course, proud member of the IE Sports Radio team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming the one and only Mr. Taryn Rodriguez. What's going on, Taryn?
Hello, everyone. Great to see you all. Great to be speaking to you all today. For those of you that are new to IE Sports Radio, for those of you that are new to Three and Out, the place. It's great to make your acquaintance. All I gotta say is, what do you do, baby?
What it do, Terry? What's going on, man? How you feeling today? We had ourselves, not to get into anything else too much, so we got to get into the defining moment later on this week, but man, we've had some craziness. I know up your alley, man, the USSSA Pride. Now I know how to say it the right way because I saw a clip earlier, but they just get it done, winning their 5th Coles Cup, sweeping the Bandits like they did last year. Of course, a 5-game series used to be a 3-game series, is now turned into a 5-game series, so that was awesome. I have no idea, maybe it was a 5-game series, I don't know, before, but anyway, so they get it done. Incredible job. I saw your tweets for the USA softball. That was incredible. We had some big races this week in IndyCar and NASCAR. I mean, there was so much that went on this weekend. Of course, Cubs and Pirates series of the week. We got to get into that. 4 games of the week that we selected last week for the WNBA. Maybe I did, I don't know. But we talked about some of those for sure. I mean, so much going on. The FIBA World Cup is coming up. I mean, it's so much there. And I mean, lots of awesomeness going on this weekend in sports, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely looking forward to talking about that when it comes to the defining moment on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, you and me both, brother. So, with that said, man, let's go ahead and jump right on in to what we all came here to talk about, as, of course, college football. So first things first, I know we usually always start off with the lower divisions and the smaller schools, but some of those schedules aren't even up yet and everything. So we're going to go a little backwards today and kind of just jump it on here with the, of course, NCAA Division I Single A, or we call it the FBS, Football Bowl Series. And just kind of talk a little bit about that. Literally, like, not a whole bunch. We're going to kind of close the show out with this as well today, but this week the rankings were released, as a matter of fact, just a little bit ago, courtesy of the ESPN ScoreCenter app. And would you look at this, Ivy? It's awesome to see these rankings right now. I'm seeing them for the first time on the ESPN ScoreCenter app, and how much of these teams moved around and went all over the place. So let's go ahead and jump on in to those top 25 rankings and give you our thoughts. So from 25 to 21, we have Stanford, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Syracuse. Ladies and gentlemen, Syracuse. Let me say it one more time. Syracuse, the Orange, Donovan McNabb's old team. Yeah, that's Syracuse. They're freaking 22. How you like that? And, of course, the team that seems upset the Oklahoma State Cowboys once every so often, the Iowa State Cyclones. So that is 25 to 21. After that, 20 to 16, we have Iowa. Well, would you look at that? Iowa and Iowa State, just side by side. The way they love to be, right? Rivalry. Anyway, we have Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan State, UCF, of course, the national champs, as we like to say, UCF, the Knights, and Auburn. So those are your from 20 to 16. Then we have from 15 to 11, Penn State, Utah, Washington, Texas A&M, and Oregon. And then from 10 to 6, would you look at that? The Texas Longhorns, Notre Dame. That's going to be an interesting topic. Florida, Michigan, and LSU. And then the current top 5, or the preseason rankings, that is, top 5 right now, Ohio State. Coach Urban Meyer has stepped away, but this team right here is certainly starting off the season where they want to be, but can they maintain it? We shall see. We have Ohio State, Oklahoma. No more Kyler Murray, but can they stay in this top 5 all year? Can they get a shot at that national championship? We shall see. Number 3, the Georgia Bulldogs, a team who has just been every bit as advertised. I mean, Fromm coming back, Ridley, of course, being a player that they departed with recently. Also, I forgot Marcole Hardman, another big-time receiver that just went to the NFL. I mean, this team has just been producing like crazy this past couple of years. So they have found themselves at number 3. At number 2, Alabama, of course, the team who got completely whomped, destroyed in the national championship last year. And number 1, the team who destroyed that Roll Tide team, or that Crimson Tide team, the Clemson Tigers. Who else? The team who won it all last year, getting it done. I mean, you can't say enough about these Clemson Tigers, just being the dominant team that they've been. Dabo Swinney's done a great job there. This team has just been absolutely incredible. Last year, they would win their second national championship back-to-back. I mean, it has been incredible to see this team do what they've done. But they have won their second national championship back-to-back, that is, in the last 3 years. And it's their third in program history. This team has just been all over the place. And you can't ask for more. This is such a tough football team. And they have been every bit as advertised. So, with that said, any thoughts there, Taryn, on that preseason top 25?
So yeah, the AP Top 25, it's great to see that. I believe number 23 is Washington State, or Wazoo. So according to the AP Top 25 football poll. So believe it or not, and you're going to be astounded by this stat, USC, the University of Southern California, is not ranked on the top 25, and that's the first time since 2001 since they last were unranked. And more importantly, they only received 1 vote when it came to these polls. So that kind of puts Clay Helton on the hot seat for this season. So I pretty much said it best. If he doesn't turn it around, he's probably going to get the boot. And I think SC fans can agree. So, as for the current top 25, it's good to see the Pac-12 representing. You got Stanford, Washington State, you have Washington, Utah, and Oregon. That's 5 teams from the Pac-12 right off the bat right there. That's pretty impressive. Oregon's resurging back to their excellence. They're near the top 10. I expected Clemson and Alabama to be 1 and 2. It's pretty much a 2-horse race between those two, unless Georgia and Oklahoma can make their way, or if Clemson and Alabama somehow lose their way. I'm a little surprised to see Auburn at number 16. To me, I think Auburn is a sleeper team because they're from the very tough SEC. The SEC is probably one of the more dominant conferences, in my opinion. I mean, the Pac-12 is up there as well, but, they're the highest-ranked team from the Pac-12 is number 11. But, that could all change soon, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, I get you, and yeah, my apologies. I don't know why I said Wisconsin twice. Yeah, Wazoo, of course, number 23, the Cougars. But, first things first, yeah, as a diehard SC fan, it really sucks to see this team not be there. I had no idea it was their first time since 2001 they haven't been ranked, but, yeah, Clay Helton's a great guy, but I think it's about that time. It's kind of getting ridiculous. I mean, sorry, dude. It's really sad to see this team just be what they once were and then just kind of nothing. I'm very proud of this team for being, the team that they've been for the last couple of years, for at least being some kind of a fighter in the Pac-12. I mean, some big-time games the last couple of years, and as a Trojan fan, it's not the easiest thing to see your team, which once was great, be destroyed by everybody. Especially Alabama a few years ago in the Cowboy Classic, which, of course, that's years ago. But I'm just saying, the thing is SC, I'd love to see them return to greatness. But as of right now, I mean, hey, Chip Kelly's over there across the city now. It's definitely not going to make recruiting easy for SC right now, and we'll see what happens with Helton. But as of right now, I just got to have faith in this team and hope that they can move forward and at least be somewhat competitive this year in the Pac-12. So with that said, last year, looking at a couple of these teams, I mean, where they were and how they ended up, I think everyone's kind of where they should be. First things first, I got to ask this question for everybody out there. and maybe you disagree with me, and if you do, well then is what it is, but where in the freaking crap is Fresno State? Like, why is this team not in the top 25 preseason ranking? Like, why? That's cute. They received votes. That's cute. And there was 8 of them. That's really cute. I mean, are you serious? Like, how is this team not in the top 25? Like, what do they got to do? This team has been incredibly good the last couple of years. They just won the gosh darn Mountain West again. I mean, they're a very good football team. Why is Fresno State nowhere to be found yet? Again, I mean, they got rankings. I'm sorry, they got voting polls. That's cute. Or they got votes. That's cute. How? They finished last year at number 18 overall, the 12-2 record. They won the Mountain West. Why is this team not there? Like, it's kind of ridiculous to see this team again, or at least not in the preseason rankings. I am very kind of in awe. Maybe not in awe, because, I mean, you wouldn't expect it. It's the Mountain West. Ooh, who cares, But I don't know. I just feel like right now this team is going to be one of the better teams this year. They're going to get into the top 25. I'll tell you that right now. I think Fresno State is definitely going to get into the top 25. They're a very good football team, okay? I mean, they have done so much to prove that they belong in this top 25, at least in the preseason for sure. They're gonna get there. They will get to the top 25. There's no way they won't. I know they will. They have to, unless they have a complete nosedive. I don't know how many returners they brought back, on how many people they lost, but they are certainly a good football team. And once again, when everybody sees that this year again, I mean, hopefully next year they can be ranked again. Once again, it's just preseason stuff, but still, I just think it's kind of disrespectful to put these guys, to not put them where they need to be, because this is just a damn good team. They're a damn good team, and they deserve better than that. So I don't know. So, Taryn, any thoughts on Fresno State, real quick?
Well, the reason why I think they're not in the top 25 is because, no offense to the Mountain West, but they're just not like the big power conference like the Pac-12 and SEC and all those other top-tier conferences are. And, I give props to Fresno State for being consistent, but, you got, it's all basically considered... It's all due to the committee. Like, the committee pretty much, looks at the big power conferences and who has been dominating for the most part, honestly. And I think the committee should look at all conferences, just to be fair. Looking back at this conference, I don't think there's like any there's like no teams from the Mountain West ranked as well. So it's very interesting and a little disappointing to see that. But I think you say Fresno State is good. I think one team that could creep up on them is Boise State. I've heard a lot of good things from Boise State. I want to say one of their players, Crabtree, is his last name. I should know his first name, but Crabtree, I think, will emerge as one of the better players for Boise State. So I think Fresno State can receive some competition from Boise State, just because Boise State has been consistent and they've been on the coattails of Fresno State, or they've either won the Mountain West Conference. But But to me, Fresno State deserves some love, but Boise State can be said for the same thing, because Boise State has consistency. But I'm interested to see how the Mountain West will play out.
Well, the Mountain West is an incredible conference. I love it. I've always been a fan of it. It's a great, at least when I started getting college football, like in high school, but I love it. I mean, such a great conference. And yeah, you're right. It gets disrespected. But still, I mean, come on, y'all. These guys go in, and they go to the dang, Fresno State goes to the Las Vegas Bowl last year, and, it's like, they get it done. They defeat Arizona State 31-20, and they finish off the season, once again, at 12-2. And then the Mountain West as a whole, I mean, last year, the Mountain West, let me go ahead and take a look here. The Mountain West, I mean, Fresno State finds themselves, and I remember it was a snow game. Oh, that was such a great game. And they were, It was such a gosh damn good game. And in the dang snow, they're going head to head. Fresno State is just proving, like, time and time again, that they're just a damn good team. Because Boise State, of course, don't forget, they played Boise State. And they played them in the Mountain West Championship last year. And they got it done. They got it done. I mean, this Fresno State team, they got it done, and they looked every bit as advertised. I mean, they just seem to be, like, I'm telling you, that team that just continues to get forgotten, and it's really sad that this team isn't, like, I don't know, they need to be, there needs to be more love there. Like, there's, like, nothing there. Like, these teams, it's kind of ridiculous, I'm telling you. Like teams like this, like, how in the... Okay, first things first, I want to point this out. How in the hell is Nebraska in right now in the top 25? They must have had a damn 5-star recruit or a amazing recruiting class, because Nebraska is at 24, and Fresno State's not. Let me remind everybody out there that freaking Nebraska, we were waiting for them to get a gosh damn win all season long, okay? This team went 0-6. Okay, they didn't win their first game until October 20th, all right, when they beat Minnesota, and, I mean, they beat the crap out of Minnesota. Okay, that was a big victory, 53-28, but still, you know, they finally get a big win, okay, and then the next game, Bethune-Cookman. I'm nothing against Bethune-Cookman or the, you know, or any FCS school, but it's a gosh darn FCS school, okay, are you serious? And then after that, you get destroyed by, well, actually, no, they didn't get destroyed, but they lost a close one to Ohio State. Then they beat down on Illinois, which it's Illinois. Just saying. I mean, sorry if I'm the Illini, you know, I'm sorry to, you know. They haven't been relevant since, like, 2008. Remember when USC played them in a bowl game? I forgot. But, you know, I'm just saying. You know, so, yeah, 54-35, they win that one at home. Then they win a really close game versus a suspect Michigan State team who was up and down last year like a roller coaster. And then they lose their last game of the year to Iowa in a pretty good game, 31-28. But really, a team that goes 0-6 last year, they lose their first 6 games, and they finish with a 4-8 record. And really, they finished with a 4-8 record and a 3-6 overall. And you're going to rank them at 24? And Fresno State, they got it done. They did their thing. They won a Mountain West title, and what, they don't deserve it. So I'm just saying, crap like that is really annoying, Sharon.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. And Fresno State did finish atop the rankings, or atop the Mountain West Conference. The Mountain West Western Conference. Because the conference is divided into two leagues, and then there's that big championship game, kind of like the Pac-12 South and Pac-12 North. But yeah, Fresno State did finish 7-1 and 12-2, which is very impressive. So either Fresno State got hit hard in terms of graduation, or the Fresno State is not showing. We're missing something here, to be honest, because Fresno State deserves some love, and in the Mountain West Mountain portion of the Mountain West Conference, Boise State and Utah State were both 7-1. So I do agree that some conferences deserve some love, just because sometimes it's not all about the mainstream conferences and the mainstream teams. Every team deserves some love. Every team deserves some recognition, no matter who they are, where they're from, or what players they have. Any team deserves some love. Like, all the teams deserve some love, no matter who it is.
They do, and like I'm just saying, dude. Like, are you serious? How in the hell is Nebraska in? Like, how are they ranked number 24 preseason? Like, are you for real? Like, did we forget? Like, everyone was, like, trying to count, like, when are they going to win their first game last year? Like, there's no disrespect to the Huskers, but I'm just saying, How are they 24? And then don't forget that game was an overtime game, man. The Mountain West game. It was an overtime game. Okay, Rivers freaking gets over the goal line, man. It was an overtime game, and they win this thing in the snow, 19-6, defeating the Broncos of Boise. Okay. And they did it, man. They would claim their third Mountain West championship in program history, and that was their first time since 2013. They did it. That's the first time they won their conference, first time they won the Mountain West. And like I say, they did so much last year to prove that they are. I think they actually lost to Boise earlier on in the year. Actually, I think it was a couple weeks before that. So I don't know. All I'm just saying is this was, Fresno has proved themselves to be up there, okay? And that's disrespectful that this team just isn't where they should be. So once again, who knows? Maybe they took a hit.
Yeah, it could be. One thing I like to go by when it comes to all these early season rankings, the first rankings are the worst rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Good one. Absolutely good one there. And then I was going to add that Nebraska plays in a power conference, being the Big Ten. They're facing some tough, stiff competition. Once they get into Big Ten play, they play Ohio State, and then they also play Wisconsin, and then they finish up with Iowa. So, so it's a little coincidental to see the Big Ten having such talented teams from multiple conferences. So, yeah. It's ridiculous. I'm just saying.
If the conferences are still the same, the Big Ten West, Nebraska is facing, and Wisconsin are both ranked, and then Iowa's ranked. The Big Ten East is pretty much has all the juggernaut teams like Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Michigan State is always up there. They always seem to beat Michigan every now and then. It seems like whichever Michigan team has the home field advantage manages to beat the other one. So we'll see how it goes.
I just think it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But anyway, Fresno, man, really show them some love. Then Syracuse. Look at this team, man. They finished second last year in the ACC. You know what? Hats off to this team, man. They actually played pretty damn good. 10-3 overall, 6-2 in the ACC. Now you talk about a team who deserves it. You know what? This team deserved it. Last year, I think they finished 15th. They finished at number 15. And now they're at 22. So, it is what it is. It's fair, I think, in my opinion. But, see, that's somebody I can give, that's good. That's good. I give you kudos for that. Other than that, I don't really have any complaints. Gardner Minshew last year and these Washington State Cougars, the Cougs, Wazoo, they played well enough, I think, to where they deserve that 23 rank. Of course, he has moved on now. He's a Jacksonville Jaguar now. But I'm just saying, this is a decent... for all... I actually like these rankings right now, except for the fact that Fresno State's not in there. But other than that, UCF, continue to show everybody that, once again, a smaller conference school, they deserve, this year, I really hope they get in that gosh dang top four in the college football playoff. I really hope they do. After that, A&M, right where they need to be, I think. This is a very tough team. Blake's team, of course, H-Town Blake's team. Everybody here, I think, is absolutely where they need to be. Seriously, I don't have a problem with any of these rankings except for Nebraska being out and Fresno State being in. So, other than that, I really do feel that this is a very good top 25.
Yeah, definitely. I think Stanford can rise to the rankings because Stanford is very well coached. Coach Shaw does a great job coaching there. So, I don't mean to ride the coattails of the Pac-12 so much, but, I think Stanford could rise to the ranks, despite them getting hit hard in terms of graduation. I think Stanford has some local Southern California players on that team, especially from Orange County as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Good to see Utah. Utah being number 14. They're pretty high up there. They can win the Pac-12 South. And Oregon can win the it looks like a heavy favorite to win the Pac-12 North. But they got to watch out for Washington. Washington has always been proven to be a strong, healthy, and candidate to winning the Pac-12 North because they are getting some good players. And let me tell you, Washington's going to get even better players next year when they get Ethan Garbers and Mark Redmond from Corona Del Mar. Those two are going to Washington. That's amazing right there. And then Stanford is getting John Humphreys, which is a beast of a wide receiver. He can play. He's pretty much a five-tool player. So big ups to those three going to the Pac-12. And yes, even though I went to the rival school of Garbers, Humphreys, and Redmond. I gotta give their props. So big shout out to those three.
That's awesome. Well, there you go, a little insight there from Taryn Rodriguez, man, giving you some insight on some recruiting. Awesome, man. Or a little bit of so that's cool. They already committed.
Yes, they have committed. Yeah. So so Washington fans, UW fans. Future is definitely looking bright, as well as Stanford. I'm thinking, maybe Stanford might just be handed the Pac-12 South on a silver platter, unless USC can do something. USC's getting some good commits, like Bryce Young is from Mater Dei is going there. It'll be interesting to see how he and JT Daniels battle it out for the top spot for the quarterback spot. So we'll see how it goes, and this year's USC quarterback starting quarterback will be also interesting, with Jack Sears from St. Clemente vying for a spot against Daniels. Daniels is looking like the heavy favorite just because he's very skilled, and even for a freshman he played well. Even though he went through some growing pains, but now that he's done with those growing pains, I expect him to rise through the ranks, especially with Brew McCoy coming back, being his favorite receiver from Mater Dei.
Good old Mater Dei. I mean, I think the other day, I forgot who I was speaking with, but we were looking at was it you, Terry? Maybe not, I don't know, but we're looking at the top 5, or at least right now in California, for the schools, and of course we already know there's going to be a couple up there that are already there, or it might have been in the country, I don't know, but actually no, I think it was just California. But in the top 5, of course, number 1, Mater Dei. I mean, seriously, them, St. John Bosco, dang well Corona Centennial is going to be somewhere in the mix, but these big schools, it's incredible. Actually, I was talking with my good friend Alex, of course, Alexander Gaines, formerly of Bases Loaded, and we were looking at those top schools, and him and I were talking, we're looking at them, and it's incredible that Mater Dei I think was either one in the nation or it was one in California, but regardless, they're up there, man. I mean, Mater Dei is incredible. They've been the Monarchs, of course. I mean, hey, private school, they can recruit, but regardless, this team is just something else, man, and every year they just seem to pump out talent to go to these big D1 schools.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I believe I'm almost 100% certain that Mater Dei is number 1 in the nation, according to Max Preps. They are definitely number 1 in the CIF Southern section rankings. Bruce Rawlinson does an amazing job, and he was just on CBS yesterday with Jim Hill, and he said he's had a lot of great assistant coaches in the past, so there's definitely that, and it's always great that his players come back to see him if he doesn't get if they don't like the college that they're in, or if they need advice. So yeah, definitely big ups to Bruce Rawlinson, aka Rolo, and and in honor of him, I'll do a little bit of impersonation of him. Rock and roll, baby. We're Mater Dei. We represent.
That's awesome, man. Good old.
I apologize to Rolo if that was not a good impression.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Of course, just a one-of-a-kind team, Mater Dei, of course. But, hey, I gotta tell you, man, even though, you're over there on that side, you're in the Orange County realm, I will tell you, this team is something else. I mean, they've been, but of course, you can't forget, I am over here on this side of the tracks in the Inland Empire, and, these Huskies, This is just one of those teams, man. Centennial is just, I think they're like in the top 5 as well. And I know we're getting into even college football, of course, especially here, hotbed in Southern California. But still, Corona Centennial just being one of those teams that is just unreal every year. Lots of talent, of course. I mean, hey, Vontez Perfect, of course, the Raiders outside linebacker now. Of course, he was formerly a Bengal and formerly of Arizona State. But guess what? That's where he came from, Corona Centennial. I mean, lots of talent coming out of there. But yeah, I mean, Coach Logan over there just being the coach that he is, just being a all-around great guy. And I like to call it the Evil Empire, of course. And a big shout out to the Inland Sports Talk Show, of course, here on, not here, but check them out on Periscope. They're awesome, of course. A big shout out to Pep Fernandez and Jeffrey Gorham. They're awesome. Yes, the Inland Sports Show. Give them a follow at Inland_sports. Once again, Inland, INLAND_sports. Show them some love. They're on YouTube. Check them out as well. The Inland Sports Show. Awesome show as always. And they talk lots of high school stuff, especially right here in Southern California. So, they speak on Southern California high school sports, but great stuff there. So anyway, with that said, let's take a quick look now. Now we have pretty much got on through a little bit of the rankings there, and we are in for a treat this year. As a matter of fact, we are starting things off this weekend with a little bit of a college football play, and I am so gosh darn happy and excited. I mean, seriously, man, when it's college football time, it is just... I'm like so happy. It's just like it's back. Oh my gosh. Like I'm just like excited that it's back. And coming up this week, well, we have quite the battle. In baseball, this is quite the battle, I'll tell you that. But in football, I'm not going to say that it used to be, because it always is somewhat of a battle. But coming up this week on Saturday, I know we got games on Thursday as actually kickoff, but on Saturday, I'm really excited for Miami versus Florida, man. Miami they're on their way. They're not, the Canes are on their way. They're certainly not the team that, let's be real. The greatest college team ever, in my opinion, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Okay, they're not that, and I don't know if there could ever be another one of those. I mean, there could, who knows, but that's going to be pretty tough to beat. All those Hall of Famers, those NFL Hall of Famers coming out of that team. But Miami, kind of pulled themselves out of the slump they've been in. New coach, they've been doing so well. I forgot his name, but they've been doing much better. And Florida, of course, being one of the best teams in the SEC every year. Of course, a conference to not play with. A lot of people will say that's like the NFL feeder conference right there, and it really is. So, taking on Florida coming up this week, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Really excited for that. The over-under is actually 7.5. here, so I got a 7-point spread, which I think it might be a little more lopsided. I'd love to see the U be a little more competitive here, but I think Florida's going to come out and show their dominance early, but it'd be nice to see Miami face off here. But this is a top 25 ranked battle coming up on Saturday. Regardless, we'll get to the rest of the scores here, or the rest of the games coming up this weekend kickoff. But any thoughts there on that Florida battle there, Taryn?
Definitely looking forward. Yeah, no, nothing really, except I'm definitely looking forward to it. Definitely looking. I love rivalry games. They bring out the best in a team. And number one rule when it comes to rivalry games, just throw out the records. Everyone's 0-0. Who cares how many wins a certain team has? Who cares how many losses a certain team has? Just throw out the records. Everyone's 0-0, and just expect the unexpected.
Well, I love saying that, throw out the records, but the best part is there are no records. It really is 0-0, Taryn. So it's really cool. First game of the season for these guys. So I'm really hyped up and ready for that one. But also on top of that, we have here. So let's take a look. Let's go ahead and start things off with, might as well get into the pick'em, man. So we can go through these kind of rapid fire if you'd like to. Thursday, August 29th, we have kickoff, and it is going to be awesome. We have so many great games going on that day. Of course, UCLA taking on Cincinnati. That should be a pretty good game. Of course, Chip Kelly, coming on in with a chip on his shoulder, if you will. No pun intended. But, the guy is once again, he's going to start sucking talent over there to UCLA. To UCLA. USC is going to be... Let's talk about that real quick before we get into this game. Taryn, I mean, we all saw what Chip Kelly did in, at Oregon. He went into the NFL. Things didn't quite measure out for him. But he comes back to the Pac-12. Well, comes back to college football, specifically to the Pac-12. And then he goes on over to UCLA, a team who has beaten USC previously. They beat them last year. They've been they've been a little bit better than they've been in previous years, especially through the 2000s, so the early 2000s and, the earlier part of the 2010s. And here they are now. We're getting ready to jump on into the final year of 2010s and into the 2020s. Well, yeah, into the 2020s. And this team, they got a dude who can really make this thing happen, a head coach who can really make this thing happen. And real quick, what are your thoughts, Taryn? I mean, really, do you think that USC's at least somewhat of their dominant, time, or somewhat of their dominance is going to be cut down? Because some people say it wouldn't be dominant, but what do you think? Do you think that Chip Kelly is going to actually suck away a lot of that talent over to the Bruins?
Yeah, especially with what's been going on at USC with Clay Helton. Chip Kelly is an impressive coach. He's coached at the NFL level, so it's very impressive. I think Chip Kelly is a great fit for UCLA, considering he's just a college coach. He's just a definite smart college coach. I think the NFL was just a little much for him, honestly, but I think he's going to settle in greatly with UCLA. A lot of UCLA... I'm hearing a lot of commits to UCLA, and one of my friends who I used to see play at Newport Harbor High School, Cole Kinder, might get some playing time at running back, because I think one of UCLA's running backs got injured, and then Cole Kinder might have a shot at some playing time. I would love to see Cole Kinder getting some playing time, since I can be one of the few to say I saw Cole Kinder play in high school, and he was a freaking beast. But overall, I think Chip Kelly can really turn UCLA around. As for USC, they're definitely getting some great commits over there. Starting with Bryce Young, and then their current team is solid, but they gotta figure it out. That's why I'm saying that. That's why everyone here is saying that Clay Helton is on the hot seat for the most part, because if Clay Helton can't figure it out, we can see him getting booted. And USC has pretty much turned into a complete circus, and with the whole Cliff Kingsbury going to USC, then not going to USC, and then going to the Arizona Cardinals, and then there were some, and then you obviously have some decommits, but for the most part, I think the whole rivalry between USC and UCLA will start to flare up, and honestly, I think it'll start to be more exciting, and then I can, possibly we can see UCLA rising through the rankings if they continue this. As you can see, if you see UCLA's schedule, they face number 4 Oklahoma, number 23 Washington State, number 25 Stanford, number 14 Utah. They've got a challenging schedule ahead. They also face San Diego State, which they can definitely beat that team. But you never know with San Diego State. But we'll see what happens when it comes to UCLA. I think I can definitely say that UCLA fans should definitely be excited about this, especially with Chip Kelly, because once again, he's a great college coach.
No, he really is. And speaking of good old San Diego State, I'm a big fan of Rocky Long and the Aztecs, and every year I cheer for this team as well. I mean, USC is my number 1, but they are definitely my number 2, San Diego State. And just, tough team. I'm looking forward to lots here. I heard Coach Brady Hoke actually returned as part of Rocky Long's staff. I don't know I thought I read that somewhere. I don't want to. If so, it's not true. My bad. But of course, Brady Hoke used to coach there about 10 years ago. So I'm just saying, this is a very good team. I think San Diego State, has a decent team. I don't really actually know a lot about them right now, but after last year, they were pretty decent. I really want to see this team do a lot better. But yeah, as for UCLA, I think they're on the right track, and they just might be ready for some dominance coming up. So, with that said, we got UCLA and Cincinnati starting things off on Thursday. Short and sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. I think right now, this is the time for them to assert their dominance. Chip Kelly got in there, and let's see what he can put together. I think I think UCLA is going to go on over to Cincinnati and get a victory over the Bearcats. I think so. It's going to be a good one. I don't really have a final score. It's my first pick of the week of the season. And I'm going to go cliche with my favorite score, 24-21, as deemed by Miss Tina Bama Bow when she was a part of the show here. She was awesome. But, she's always said it was my favorite score to pick. And it definitely was. And I think it's going to be a close one. So I'm going to go 24-21. I won't be picking a lot of scores for this week. Or really, I'll dance around with some scores every now and then. But I do think UCLA is going to pull one out over there on the road versus Cincinnati. What do you think, Taryn?
Yeah, I definitely think that UCLA can win that one. And I'm going to just straight up say it. I think UCLA goes 6-6. I definitely think they won't have a 3-win season like last year. I'm not going to say which teams they're going to win or lose against, but I definitely can see this team going 6-6. My prediction is that UCLA goes 6-6. They get back to the bowl games, and they get back to relevancy, because I think that's what every UCLA fan wants. They want UCLA back to being relevant again, and they definitely have the talent to do so. It's just all about putting it together and for a full 4 quarters and just being on the same page. And also, as long as UCLA stays healthy, and I know this is cliche, but if UCLA stays healthy, they're definitely going to be one of the more top contenders in the Pac-12, and maybe they can even contend for the Pac-12 South and the overall Pac-12 title. So we'll see. Again, we'll see how it goes. I definitely think UCLA will beat Cincinnati and San Diego State. I know I just said that I wouldn't give any predictions on which teams UCLA would or wouldn't beat, but I definitely think UCLA can beat both of those teams. And because if you beat Cincinnati on the road, you got some momentum going, especially when you go back to UCLA and play San Diego State. So we'll see.
I'm excited for this game, and I agree. I think I like that. It's a bold record for UCLA. I think they'll be a little better than that, Taryn, but I know you're being more realistic. I'm just being more hopeful for this team, but I think that's a very realistic. I think 6-6, 7-5, maybe around there. They could drop and go to 5-7. We don't know, but that's around where they should be. But okay, so next up, we're just going to kind of go rapid fire on this one here. So Wagner, I think that's a FCS school taking on UConn. UConn last year, not really doing that great at all, but it's a tune-up game. We know that. Right, Taryn?
Yes, sir.
So don't look for this one to be close. Right? I mean, hey, who knows? Let's see what Wagner does, but like I say, it's a tune-up game. We're going to see lots of those in the first couple of weeks. Albany versus Central Michigan. Guess what? It's the same deal. It's a tune-up game. Taryn, do you literally have anything to say about that game?
No, but if you're someone from like Albany and you just saw the Albany Empire one, you're hoping that Albany manages to get the win. So if you're an Albany person, you're definitely excited for more football, especially after how the Albany Empire won the Arena Bowl against Philadelphia. So yeah.
You are right. That's right. Albany did win. It's right. I mean, we talked about that on the Defining Moment a couple weeks ago or last week. They did win it. So, yeah, they should be very excited for that. Albany, let's see. Hey, that'd be cool if they pull up the upset over the Chippewas. I mean, we'll see. That'd be a pretty neat little game there. Next up, Morgan State. And these are all on Thursday, by the way, y'all. We have this much college football coming up on Thursday. We are just 3 days away. So, next up, Morgan State and Bowling Green. Honestly, it looks like a tune-up game, but Bowling Green hasn't really been all that. I mean, there's something. I mean, they're probably going to win this game. But I'm going to say, another tune-up game. Buffalo versus Robert Morris, yet another tune-up game, which... once again, don't look for this one to be close. Buffalo, of course, looking to be, the aggressor in this one. UCF, number 17, UCF taking on Florida A&M. Yet another tune-up game. Once again, not shouldn't be all that close. Central Arkansas and Western Kentucky. this should actually be a pretty good football game. Central Arkansas, I don't know if that's an FCS school or not, but I do know that Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, they had like a couple good years, like a couple years ago, and then they just kind of fell off. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they definitely weren't that great last year, I'll tell you that. I mean, they weren't what they were, but this should actually be a pretty good game. Any thoughts on this one here, Taryn?
No, not necessarily, but I'm expecting a great game. You know, not to get too deep in this, but you know, I expect both those teams to just put on a show. If the away team comes out, you know, it gives them momentum going forward. So, you know, if you're a home team, you gotta defend your home turf. You gotta make sure that nobody walks into your stadium and pulls out the W, no matter where you are. And you know, just be inspired and just go out there and just have fun. You know, you're playing an amazing sport, and you know, you only get one season opener per year.
Yeah, and they are going to be, well, I mean, they're on the road, but it is confirmed. I just looked it up, Wikipedia, Wikimagic, y'all. They are, in fact, a FCS school, so how cool would that be if they were to knock off Western Kentucky, just saying. So, we got that. This is pretty sweet. Charlotte, I think, is now a FBS school, but if they are an FBS school, they're a low FBS school. I know they haven't been all that great, but they're taking on Gardner-Webb, and Gardner-Webb being an FCS school, the line is pretty lopsided here, but how crazy would it be for Gardner-Webb to go over there and pull this thing off? So yeah, Charlotte, of course, being a little bit better now, but that should be a pretty neat game. Then we have a game that's sadly going to be... I don't want this to be a tune-up game. I really don't. I wish it was a lot better and closer. But it's probably not going to be. And that is an ACC battle to start things off with. Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech and their crazy triple option type of offense, if they still run it, will be taking on number 1 Clemson. Yeah, Taryn. Yeah, it's an FCS. Sorry, it's a ACC game. ACC rivals going head-to-head. But, Taryn, let's be realistic. How close is this one going to be?
Well, if I'm being realistic, it's pretty much going to be Clemson winning a lot to a little, unfortunately. I'm sorry to all the Georgia Tech fans, but Clemson is winning a lot to a little. You know, but one thing Clemson cannot do is they cannot overlook Georgia Tech. They can't just look that far ahead to Texas A&M and to Syracuse. So, and you know, and you also look at their schedule. You know, Florida State's up there. I definitely, you know, you can't look that far ahead to Florida State. So honestly, the only concern for Clemson would probably be to overlook. So as long as they don't overlook Georgia Tech and they don't look that far ahead to Texas A&M, they'll pretty much just blow Georgia Tech out the water. Again, sorry to Georgia Tech fans, but you know, it's the sad and unavoidable truth. This is Clemson we're talking about here.
Yeah. The number 1 team in the country that just took Alabama around the woodshed in January in the national championship. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, Florida International and Tulane should actually be a pretty close game. The line is just 2 points for Tulane, so that's actually be a pretty good one. Should be a good one there. After that, Alabama State, a team who has actually come to their own. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Southern Alabama. No, Alabama State. I think that's actually an FCS school, and if they're not, then my bad. But they're taking on the Blazers, the team that was the program was canceled a couple years back, or I think like 2 years ago. Then last year they came back and won a bowl game. Awesome story there. The UAB Blazers, University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers, got it done last year, and this line is 43.5. It's a 43.5 line. So, yeah. Just saying, that should be a lopsided game there. But a game that actually should be, I would hope it would be somewhat of a competitive start. It's not going to be competitive, but I would like to see the first quarter at least kind of competitive. Texas State taking on number 12 Texas A&M. It's a Texas game. Just saying, Texas football is tough football. I'd like to see this be a close one before it's a blowout. But let's just not kid ourselves. We know the Aggies are going to come out and probably eat Texas State alive. But regardless, it'd be kind of cool to see it be a close start. Then we have South Dakota State, the Jacks, taking on Minnesota. This game is as interesting as it gets. Why? Because South Dakota is a very high-up FCS school who can actually, I think, take out some lower tier or lower division, if you will. Not lower division, but, the lower FBS schools. And, well, Minnesota, as you saw last year, I just mentioned Minnesota earlier, they lost to Nebraska. They were the team to lose it. To keep the streak going, they could have beaten Nebraska and made them go 0-7. Regardless, Nebraska went over there, and I think, I forgot what it was, but they destroyed Minnesota. And, well, wouldn't you know, it was the first victory of the season for Nebraska last year. Minnesota, yeah, they've seen better days in football, I'm sure. But this is actually a pretty good game. A high-up South Dakota State team, like I said, the Jacks are always up there in the FCS playoffs. They're a good football team, and they're going to be taking on this Minnesota Gopher team, who is absolutely not really all that great. The line is only 12.5. Taryn, your thoughts on this?
So I'm actually looking at some of these games, right here, other than that game. And one game, I'll go back to that game later, but one game I'm looking forward to is Utah-BYU, the Battle of Utah. So I definitely I'm looking forward to that game. I'm also seeing another game I'm really looking forward to is Auburn and Oregon. I think Auburn can pull out that one off, but, we'll see how it goes.
Certainly going to be good, but this game is going to be a fun one. It really is. I think I want South Dakota to win this one, even though I don't think they will. But regardless, I would love to see South Dakota win this game. Regardless, I think Minnesota will win it. But regardless, I said regardless like 10 times. Sorry, but I guess it's going to be a good game. Next up, Kent State taking on Arizona State. Well, that's going to be yet another tune-up game there. This in favor of Arizona State. We have what should be a tune-up game, but I think Northern Colorado is going to come and give San Jose State a pretty good run for their money, and the line is only 10.5 points. And Arizona State over Kent State is only 24.5 points, so I know it's a lot bigger than 10.5, but regardless, Northern Colorado going on over to take on South Dakota State should be a pretty good battle there. And then we have the Holy War. Now, this is the game to talk about. So, let's get into this one, man. Number 14, Utah, taking on unranked BYU. The spread is only 4.5 points, and it is going to be a really good football game. Like I said, the Holy War, this is just one of those games where I absolutely love to enjoy. I've actually never even seen one, but I want to enjoy it. I love a good rivalry game. And it has just been... It's a rivalry. And as Taryn said earlier, it's something you just throw the records out. But regardless, there's no records here. But there's no records in this one. But certainly going to be a very good one here. So, with that said, once again, good old wiki magic. But the last time they played, last year in November, Utah would win this one 35-27. Not too bad. I'll tell you what. This is actually a good football game. BYU not being the best last year whatsoever. But I'll tell you what. It was certainly a good football game. BYU on the road, pulling this thing. They've met 99 total times. This is going to be the 100th meeting of the Holy War coming up. Utah leads the all-time series 61-34-4. So as you can see, a pretty lopsided affair there. But regardless, this has been such a good battle for these two teams. And right now, Utah, they just won it again. They're on an 8-game win streak right now over BYU. The last time BYU won this thing was in 2009. So they're right close to each other in geography. Provo is just a little bit south of Salt Lake. I've never been to Utah, but yeah, I can see here in the geography they're not too far apart. You're saying this is a good battle, and we could see a very good football game here on Thursday night, Taryn.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Honestly, I think BYU is one of the more underappreciated schools, considering they have a good athletic program, and I I don't remember which game they won, but they pulled off some sort of big upset last year. And, I was like, wait, BYU has a good football team? BYU is a football school now? So it's good to see BYU rise into the rankings. But for the most part, it looks like Utah's going to win that one. The Holy War is definitely going to go to Utah again. But I do expect BYU to make it at least some sort of competitive and make it a contest of some sort. I don't like to see blowouts, and I don't think you like to see blowouts. I don't like to see blowouts, honestly, in football or in any sport.
Well, I mean, hey, they happen. But this year, I think, Mangum was actually gone this year. Their quarterback seems like he was there for a while. But this team has just been, I don't know. We should see ourselves a very good football game here, though, in the Holy War. And looking forward to that one Thursday night, 7:15 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, August 29th. Number 14, Utah will head on over to Provo to take on Brigham Young, BYU, unranked BYU. The line is only 4.5 points in favor of Utah. You know what, man? I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go BYU wins this thing 28-21. What do you think, Taryn?
I'm taking Utah to win, but I'll make it close. I'll be nice to BYU. I got Utah win, but I got Utah winning 31-27. 31-27.
Okay, well, we got some close. That's a little close, even closer than my score. So, all right, let's see how it plays out on Thursday. Then we have on to Friday. I got a good number of games here. Rice taking on Army. This should be an interesting game because neither of them are. Actually, the Army's been pretty good. They won the last two Army-Navy games, I think. So, something like that. So, they're actually favored to win this one. The line is 23.5. Tulsa and Michigan State, or at number 18 Michigan State. That should be quite the tune-up game there for Michigan State. Let's see if they can get back on track. I mean, they're ranked this year. Last year they were up and down like a roller coaster, but this year we got number 19, or this week also we got number 19 Wisconsin taking on UCF, the Bulls, and I think Max Strong is still there. I would love to see UCF defend their turf and win this thing, but I just don't see it. I think Wisconsin's a very tough school, and they're 19 for a reason. I mean, they're favored by 13 points in this game, so we shall see. But, Wisconsin should win that one. UMass and Rutgers. This will actually be a competitive game, a northeastern battle up there. Rutgers is a good school. They've had decent teams. They haven't been much of a... Okay. I don't want to, pump them up or anything. They've been, they've definitely seen better days. But this is, a decent school that has potential. Not really a front runner for, the Big Ten or anything. But I do feel that this would be a good game for them to start things off with. UMass, a tough school, but without a doubt, I think Rutgers will win this one at home. Utah State will be taking on Wake Forest. This will actually be a really close game. By the way, Rutgers was favored over UMass by 15 points. Then we have Utah State taking on Wake Forest. And the Demon Deacons last year, not having the best season. Utah State, the Aggies, this school as well, being one of those teams that you can kind of pinpoint and be like, well, they've produced some decent. If you guys remember Turbin, who played for the Seahawks, he was actually... he came from there. Once again, I'm trying to bring up old stuff there. Sorry about that. But last year, this team, they weren't so bad. They really weren't. Utah State last year finished second in the Mountain West. Well, sorry, in the Mountain West mountain region, that is. And they actually didn't. They were actually pretty dang good. I thought they didn't. They played some decent football. And they went on to the New Mexico Bowl, and they destroyed North Texas, 52-13. So, like I said, they finished with an 11-2 record, and not too shabby. And as I said, for Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, this team is just they've been kind of a story to follow, I guess, in a sense. I don't want to get into no crap. But I think if anybody knows, what surrounded them a couple years back or whenever that was. But anyway, other than all that, we're not about controversy here at iSports Radio, so not going to mention any of that. But last year, the Demon Deacons, like I said, they've seen better days. 7-6, not all that great, whatever. They did win the Birmingham Bowl over Memphis, 37-34, awesome. But once again, nothing to bat an eye at. They finished pretty low, I think, in the ACC. I forgot where they finished. Wiki Magic is looking here. They finished at 3-5, so they didn't finish very high up. So honestly, I'm going to give this one to Utah State to win this one on the road, even though they're favoring Wake. I'm going to say Wake wins this one. So anyway, any thoughts? Sorry, Terry, I was going through these games. But any thoughts on those games or that game I just talked about right now?
So yeah, I definitely think Wake Forest will win. I don't mean to knock your take, but Wake Forest to me has just been one of the more better programs. I believe I don't know off the top of my head which conference they play in, but I believe it is
the ACC.
Yeah, ACC. They're again another power conference team. I definitely think Wake Forest can win. Utah State has always been a promising program. I had one of my friends who was a tight end at OCC go there. He was a phenomenal player. So I definitely am looking forward to Utah State, Wake Forest. Wisconsin, for them, this is their chance to prove why they're ranked. I definitely think Wisconsin can win that game, but we'll see how it goes. This is, again, it's a test for them to see if they deserve to be in the top 25 or if they're just one of those pretender teams. If they're just basically a sheep in wolf's clothing. Then another game I'm looking at is Colorado State and Colorado.
We haven't even got there yet, Taryn. What the heck?
My bad.
Gotta wait for me, brother. Gotta wait for me.
Yeah. But I'll let you talk about that. Other than that, I think our Army can beat Rice. Army beats Rice because they have a decent program. Michigan State wins that one quite easily. I pick Wisconsin to beat South Florida. I'll take UMass to beat Rutgers, and then Wake Forest to beat Utah State.
That works for me. Those are good picks there. But yeah, man, so let's get into Rocky Mountain Showdown, man. This is a fun game. I really like this game. This is a good game. It really is a good game. I enjoy the heck out of it. The Rocky Mountain... My bad, Terry. I didn't mean to kick you off there, man. But they play for the Centennial Cup, and this is just a good football game. Last year, Colorado just blew the doors off of Colorado State, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be much different this year. Colorado State, decent. They produced a guy like Michael Gallup, who went to the Cowboys 2 years ago, and now he's, last year, and he's in his second year now. So, definitely a place where they can produce, great athletes and whatnot. All they're not too far either in geography, as I can see here. Once again, Wiki Magic. But Colorado has won 4 in a row since 2015 since 2015 all the way to present. So they've done it. Colorado leads the all-time series 6-6 22-2, so they have absolutely just owned this series, and this is gonna be a good one. It really is. So it's gonna be in Bronco Stadium. So it's gonna be in Colorado, or at the Colorado, or the University of Colorado, or Colorado University, whatever. Yeah, the University of Colorado. So could be a pretty good game there. One of my old coaches from RCC, Coach Darren Cheverini, he was a product of Centennial High School, as well as he played for Centennial High School, went on over to Colorado, played there, and was drafted, I think, by the Falcons, played for the Browns, I think. Yeah, played for the Browns for a couple of years, and then the Falcons, and then, became a coach. But, yeah, he went back to RCC. I think he went to Texas Tech and coach, and now he's there as the offensive coordinator at Colorado. And it is just awesome to see this guy's journey. So big shout out to Coach Cheverini, man. What's up, Chev? Great guy, man. And he's certainly just a phenomenal coach. From what I remember, the guy is awesome. So he definitely does a lot there, or has pulled in a lot of talent. And I think that Colorado is going to be quite the team to handle this year in the Pac-12. Don't know if they're going to make the run to win it, but my gosh, they can come close. Anyway, so it should be a pretty good game there. Taryn, your thoughts on the Rocky Mountain Showdown?
All I gotta say is, Sco Buffs. So definitely picking Colorado to win this one. Being in the Pac-12 versus Mountain West. No offense to the Mountain West, but it's basically swords versus toothpicks, unfortunately. But you gotta like rivalry games like this. I definitely think Colorado. It's definitely my pick for Colorado to win. I think we also missed this game, but Purdue and Nevada, the Boilermakers versus the Wolfpack. I think Purdue wins that one quite nicely. It might be close considering they are playing in Sin City, being in Nevada, but I definitely think the Boilermakers can pick that one. But as for the Battle of Colorado, I'm taking University of Colorado to win. I'm back in the pack as always, but definitely looking forward to that one. It's an ESPN game, so those that have ESPN, feel free to turn to that game. You can do no wrong.
Also, good to be a good game there. And yeah, speaking of Purdue, I mean, they lost in Music City Bowl, 63-14 to Auburn. Of course, Stidham, who's now a Patriot, doing really well. Hopefully he's doing really well over there. But yeah, I mean, Purdue last year finished 6-7, 5-4 in the Big Ten. Just unimpressive. Drew Brees' alma mater last year just wasn't their year, I'll tell you that. But and then you have on the opposite side, so let's say, Big Ten school, taking on Nevada, the Nevada Wolfpack. And, well, this has been an interesting team as well. This was last year, these guys actually, let me look it up real quick. They finished second in the Mountain West division, and they would win over Arkansas State, the Red Foxes, I think that's who they are. But 16-13 in overtime last year in the Arizona Bowl. And you know what? Their basketball team is certainly up there. I'll tell you that, the Nevada Wolfpack. But their football team last year wasn't too bad either. You know what? 8-5 in the Mountain West. They finished 5-3 in the Mountain West and 8-5 overall. Once again, they finished second in the Mountain West West division. And yeah, I mean, I guess, you know what, no biggie here. They certainly have I don't think any of that really matters and how many players they lost or whatever, but really just judging off of that, Purdue, they're a good tough team. I really do feel that they're a good tough team. But I don't know. I'm gonna stick with the West, man. I gotta take Nevada in this game. I think it's gonna be a really close game. I think there's no use in picking a score for Colorado State and Colorado. Run, Ralphie, run. That's all I got to say. It's gonna happen. I mean, who knows? If Colorado State wins it in an upset, cool. But man, Colorado, I think is gonna just blow the doors off again. But when it comes down to Purdue and Nevada, I'm gonna hit the Wolfpack, man. I'm gonna say this one 35-31, close game.
Yeah, I could actually use that pretty much as an inverse for Purdue, Nevada. I definitely think. I think Purdue can win that game, honestly. I think Purdue is somewhat of an under-the-radar team just because they're in such a tough conference. Being in the Big 10. So, definitely if Purdue gets this win over Nevada, it'll be huge for them considering going forward in that tough conference. That's a huge momentum giver. But if Purdue loses to Nevada, which I don't think will happen, and sorry to all the Nevada fans out there, Purdue will be behind the 8 ball for sure. So for Purdue, it's pretty much you're going to have to go to war and get her done on the road.
Absolutely. So let's finish up on Friday. Oklahoma State taking on Oregon State. Oregon State is being anything but competitive. Oklahoma State being a pretty tough team. They are favored by 15 points. I'm going to take Oklahoma State as well, but my gosh, the Beavers would pull this off. I would love it. They're going to be in Corvallis. You know what, man? I'm taking an upset. I don't give a crap. Let's go Pac-12. Win a gosh dang game. I'm all for Oregon. I think the Oregon will upset them 20-21 or 21-20. What do you think?
I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I don't really know. I honestly don't know much about Oklahoma State, believe it or not, but I definitely think Oregon State is going to need still needs a little bit of time to just progress and just flourish. I'm going to pick Oklahoma State to win 27-21, honestly.
That'd be a good game.
I know it's going to be at Oregon, but, I definitely think Oklahoma State I definitely think this would be a big win for Oklahoma State winning on the road. So, yeah.
Should be a pretty good game there. So, next up, we got a full slate of games Saturday. So, we're going to go rapid fire here and just give a couple of tidbits, a couple of quick and dirty thoughts on all these games. We got a whole bunch to get to. And, of course, our game of the week. We'll talk about that momentarily. So, let's go ahead and jump through them, Taryn. So, starting on Saturday, here we go. FAU taking on number 5, Ohio State. Northern Iowa FCS school taking on number 21 Iowa State. South Alabama taking on number 24 Nebraska. Just saying. South Alabama. Do your thing. Just saying. And then Akron taking on Illinois. What do you think about all those games right there, Darren?
You know, they all look good to me. You know, I'm also looking forward to for that week, for that day. I'm definitely looking forward to Oregon Auburn. I don't know if that's the game of the week, but it looks like it is.
We're not there yet, Taryn. We're not there yet.
Oh, sorry.
So, just the games I said, man. Just the games I said. That's all.
Yeah, sorry. I keep jumping the gun, but you know, some of those games are going to be interesting. We'll see if. I definitely want to see Ohio State on how they are. Obviously, they'll be strong, but can they? But the big question is, can they not overlook their opponent? Because, you know, obviously they have FAU, then Cincinnati, then Indiana. So for the most part, it's basically a light schedule for Ohio State until they get into, like, Nebraska, Michigan State. You know, then they play Penn State and then Michigan. So it's mainly just a light schedule for Ohio State. But you know, if they can win the games that they can win, you know, they'll be fine. But you kind of have to be a little concerned for Ohio State playing somewhat of a light schedule. But we'll see how it goes for them. You know, I obviously it's going to be Ohio State winning. You don't want to like disrespect them. I think Ohio State can go undefeated. Considering they have a rich history of beating Michigan, but we'll see.
Absolutely.
Sorry to all the Michigan fans.
Right. So we're going to go rapid fire, like I said. We only got about a half an hour left. We still got to get to all the other divisions. And those are going to be quick and dirty for this week because there's not a lot there. But as for Division 1, so we're moving on down here. We got Akron taking on Illinois. Indiana taking on Ball State. Howard taking on Maryland. Looking forward to Maryland being a pretty good team this year. Indiana and Indiana State and Kansas also going head to head there. I said they got that one being a close one. The Jayhawks last year not having that bad of a year, so I don't know. That kind of I guess Indiana State's a packed team. I have no idea. It's probably an FCS team. I don't know much about them at all, actually, even in the FCS. So. Next up, we have Toledo taking on Kentucky. And Kentucky, after last year, just being an incredible team, they lost a lot of their players in the draft. But can they continue that this year? Once again, they're a tough team. We also have Ole Miss and Memphis going head-to-head, as well as Mississippi State and Louisiana. East Carolina taking on NC State. JMU and West Virginia. Should be a pretty good game. URI, of course, Rhode Island and Ohio. I'm looking forward to JMU and West Virginia because the Dukes, I mean, they're once again a high-up FCS school. West Virginia, they actually were pretty good last year, and they got this game at a 6.5 line in favor of West Virginia. So that's either saying something really bad West Virginia or something really good about JMU. I'm really excited for that one. I know big shout out to Miss Angela Winstead. She's a big ECU fan. They'll be taking on the Dogs, of course, or the Wolfpack. So that should be a pretty good game there as well. And then one more to top this off. This it's going to be lopsided, but my gosh, how awesome would it be if there were to be an upset here? I don't think it's going to be. But in the FCS, we have the Eagles of Eastern Washington taking on number 13 UW, the Washington Huskies. Any thoughts on any of those games, Darren?
So yeah, one thing for certain is I think a team from Washington is going to win the East Washington matchup. But for real, I definitely think UW's going to win that. You know, I don't know if we've talked about this game, but I think Fresno State USC is definitely a great game. You know, obviously I'm pretty sure it'll be USC winning, but you never know with Fresno State. I think Fresno State's going to stop being little brother to USC, even though there's not really like a true rivalry. But, you know, you never know with Fresno State. But I like USC winning that one. So yeah, again, definitely got to back the pack and definitely got to fight on.
Well, we have not gotten there yet, but USC, of course, my team. USC, Fresno State, I understand, old school rivalry there, so awesome stuff. So we're going to continue on here. Bucknell and Temple, another pretty dang good game here. Really excited to see these two teams go head-to-head. Temple should have won that one, but pretty good game. Duke and Alabama.
Basketball school versus football school.
Yeah, Duke last year proved that they were decent. This year, they're just, I don't know where they're going to be. Alabama, ouch. Should be very lopsided, but still, hopefully be a pretty good game. But I seriously doubt it. I think Alabama's going to open this thing up early, and that's going to be that. Idaho and Penn State, number 15 Penn State, another pretty decent game. Penn State, I mean, Idaho, I would love for them to actually be competitive. Yeah, not necessarily a decent game, but a game that I would hope to be a lot closer. Once again, another blowout, I think, here. Colgate and Air Force. Colgate, not necessarily the biggest. I mean, they're a hockey school for sure. But Air Force, they used to be pretty dominant in football, but let's see where they do this year. Holy Cross and Navy. Should be a pretty lopsided game there for Navy, even though it would be nice to see Holy Cross get a nice victory here, pull an upset in week 1. Eastern Michigan and the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. Now, this would actually be a pretty good game. The line's only 5.5 for Eastern Michigan. Coastal Carolina is certainly a very good, tough team. They're going to be at home. Even though I want them to win, and I'm pretty sure Eastern Michigan will. Then we have South Carolina versus North Carolina. I love this. This is great stuff. Another little rivalry matchup here. SEC versus ACC battle. They actually have, last year, North Carolina didn't look too bad. They actually were somewhat competitive. But they have and don't forget, South Carolina wasn't all that great. Even though they're an SEC school, they really weren't all that last year. So they have the line 7.5 points for South Carolina. Your thoughts on that game, Taryn?
Yeah, I definitely think that USC will win. South Carolina will win. You know, I believe it or not, this might be a little funny to you. I came across the tweet that said, "Which team is the real USC?" Retweet for South Carolina, and then like for University of Southern California. And I'm like, really? We're still doing this whole thing? Yeah, it was pretty funny. It's like, come on now, like, please. Oh, and I was just like cracking up. I'm like, come on now.
That is pretty funny. I heard a commentator say one time, like, okay, get out of here. South Carolina was a school. The University of South Carolina was a school before California was even a state. Like, this actually is pretty funny. But so moving forward, Georgia State and Tennessee. Tennessee this year, I would hope they do something, but I don't think they will. A couple years ago, they had their window, then they just kind of fell apart. But regardless, Tennessee will be taking on Georgia State. ETSU taking on Appalachian State. Northwestern taking on number 24 or 25 Stanford. Portland State will be taking on Arkansas. Should be good. Well, I'd hope that would be a good game there, but I think the Razorbacks are going to, probably end up beating those guys pretty bad. But well, it's only 26.5 points. But I'm a West Coast guy, so I'm hoping that Portland State goes over there and does something, at least give some kind of a fight. Arkansas hasn't been all that great, so I'm just saying. Montana State got the Grizzlies. I'm sorry, the Grizzlies. Wow, I'm going to get jumped by people from Montana right now. The Bobcats taking on Texas Tech. Virginia Tech taking on Boston College. Number 22 Syracuse taking on Liberty. And let's see here. Sam Houston State, a big-time FCS school, taking on New Mexico. It's actually going to be a pretty good game from what they say here. Sam Houston State's only a 10-point, they got a 10-point margin for New Mexico, so it should be interesting there. Incarnate Word taking on UTSA, University of Texas, San Antonio. It's only a 4.5 victory, and after hearing the story of Incarnate Word and how the school had to jump up all the way from, I think, Division III or something like that, hearing their story from my buddy Christian Espinoza, which is, of course, a part of the show here, that hopefully will be with us next week. I'm all in for Incarnate Word to win this thing. That'd be awesome. We got Campbell, a FCS school, taking on Troy. That's probably going to be pretty lopsided. Troy's actually gotten much better in the last couple of years. UC Davis taking on Cal. Oh my gosh, can this just be? This is going to be awesome. I am so excited for this game. UC Davis is actually going to do good. Doss, a receiver, playing for the Raiders right now. I'd love to see his school take out Cal, but I don't think it's going to happen. But regardless, wouldn't that be such a good battle there? Nice little California battle. We got a few more to go. VMI versus Marshall, Norfolk State versus Old Dominion, Alcorn State versus Southern Miss, Illinois State taking on Northern Illinois, little Illinois battle there. Monmouth taking on Western Michigan, SMU taking on Arkansas State, Boise State taking on Florida State. That's going to be a battle. I am really excited for that one. Florida State will probably squeak that one out, but Boise State, it would be awesome to see them go down to Tallahassee and win that thing. Nicholls State taking on Kansas State. SF Austin taking on Baylor. Number 3, Georgia taking on Vanderbilt. And I don't know if SF Austin is FCS school. They might be. But Georgia Southern taking on number 6 LSU. Mid-Tennessee taking on number 7 Michigan. Number 11 Oregon taking on number 16 Auburn. That's going to be a battle right there. I'll tell you that. I am so excited for that game. Of course, that is this week's, as a matter of fact, that is this week's game of the week. So we'll get to that momentarily. We have Miami, Ohio taking on number 20 Iowa. Missouri taking on Wyoming. Abilene Christian taking on North Texas, the Mean Green. They just have a really cool name. I love their name. Virginia taking on Pittsburgh. La Tech taking on number 10 Texas. Houston Baptist taking on UTEP. Arkansas Pine Bluff taking on TCU. Grambling taking on UL Monroe. New Mexico State taking on number 23 Wazoo up in Pullman, Washington. Should be a good game there. Southern Utah. The Red Raiders of Southern Utah taking on UNLV. And then, of course, we got a couple more. Weber State taking on San Diego State. That's actually an FCS school going on down to San Diego. And I only got that at 7.5 for San Diego State. So let's go Aztecs and see if they can, pull that one off. I like that. That'd be great. That'd be a good game. And then, of course, Fresno State taking on my beloved USC Trojans. This is a 13.5 point spread for USC. And as I mentioned, they're nobody to play with. So as of right now, we got 2 more games. We got also coming up on Sunday, we got a Sunday game. Houston taking on number 4 Oklahoma, and I wish that could be more competitive, but it's not. I don't know. And then, of course, a pretty good game coming up on Monday, number 9, and that's actually coming up in September. So I don't know why we're even there yet. Sorry, but that's on Sunday, September 1st. So we won't even get there yet. But as of right now, going back to the game of the week, number 11 Auburn and number 11 Oregon taking number 16 Auburn. And real quick, Taryn, now any thoughts on any of those games I just named off before we get to the game of the week?
So I definitely think Boise State will beat Florida State. As crazy as that sounds, I'm going to pick that Boise State to beat Florida State. I'm sorry to all the FSU fans, but you can chastise me if I get this wrong. I would like to see UC Davis also pull the upset against Cal, but Cal has quarterback Chase Garbers, who is from Del Mar, and Chase Garbers is the older brother of Ethan Garbers, who is going to UW. I definitely expect USC to beat Fresno State, and then Auburn, Oregon. That's going to be a great matchup. I'm glad that's the game of the week. I'm picking Auburn managed to beat Washington last year, which was a Pac-12 team, especially in the Pac-12 North. I think Auburn will do the same thing this year against Oregon. I'll have them winning 27-17.
That's a good score. And you know what, man? I'm gonna stick with the Pac-12 this time, man. I'm usually not a fan of anybody but my USC Trojans in the Pac-12, but I'm gonna back the Pac. This is gonna be a really good game. But Auburn, hey, you know what? I don't know who the backup, but the next is. But Stidham, of course, their quarterback onto the NFL, playing for the Patriots now behind Tom Brady. And I just feel, he's gonna be learning a lot for sure. But I just feel like right now, you know what? If there was ever a time for Oregon to make a statement, it's going to be now. They have to do something now. They have to make something happen now. They're a good school, man, and I forgot their coach's name, but you know what? This team, they're number 11. They've played well enough to obviously deserve that ranking, and they're going on over to Auburn. I mean, this is not going to be an easy place. Not an easy place to play over there, and actually, no, they're not playing Auburn. They're playing AT&T. I'm sorry, it's the Cowboy Classic. Duh. It's in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So this is actually going to be a very good football game. Pac-12 versus SEC action. And I'm going to go with Oregon winning this one. Final score, I'm going to say a low-scoring battle, man. I think Auburn's defense is nasty enough to keep this Oregon offense, this high-powered Oregon offense down, and I think that Oregon's defense is actually going to be able to match up with Auburn pretty well. I'm going to say final score on this one, 27-21. Or no, I'm going to say 27-20. Oregon wins this one.
Sounds fair. Sounds good to me. I thought, when you said low scoring, I thought it was going to be like a little bit lower. I was thinking, he's going to probably pick lower than that. But I don't know. Maybe you have a different definition of low scoring. But, to each his own. I still stand by what I say when it comes to Auburn winning 27-17. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I have a lot of friends who are Auburn fans and a lot of friends that are Oregon fans. So it'll pretty much be a friendship divided when it comes to me.
There you go. And by the way, I'm such a ding-dong. That's actually next Thursday. I don't know why I thought it was this Thursday. It's actually in 10 days. But this weekend, of course, we already got to Miami and number 8, Florida. So that will become... What was that?
Chomp, chomp.
Chomp, chomp, right? Yeah, so that's actually not this week's game of the week. That's coming up. So this is kind of the way that the schedule's all put together here on NCAA.com. On the ESPN SportsCenter app. But regardless, that is week 1. So we're going to revisit a lot of these next week when we come back. But as of right now, just the only games coming up that I could see for right now, August 24th coming up this weekend. Once again, Miami taking on number 8, Florida, and that will be that. So, with that said, we also got Arizona taking on Hawaii. Any thoughts on this game, Taryn?
I'm going to back the pack on that one and pick Arizona to win that one. I think Arizona is a little under the radar. I know it's going to be in a different time zone and it's going to be at Hawaii, but I like Arizona to win that one. I think it'll still be respectable and a little close, but I like Arizona that one. It's pretty much an iron blade sword versus a wooden sword.
Absolutely. I think so as well. That should be pretty darn good. And I'm so excited for this game. I'm going to say Arizona wins this one as well, but that's an 11-point spread, Arizona winning. But, man, I got all excited. I don't know why. I guess I saw the date and I got so excited. But whatever. We'll get back to all those next week. But anyway, we only got literally 19 minutes left in this show. So let's go on over to the lower divisions and just take a quick look here, revisit last year a little bit, and just kind of talk about some of these schools. Man, we have seen some crazy football the last years. And last year we saw some crazy football. And let's just go backwards today and go. Of course, we saw Clemson this year in Alabama. Yeah, expectations for both those teams this year. What do you think?
So yeah, it's a little early to say, but you definitely gotta like Clemson. Like, to me, you were talking Clemson. Clemson to me can definitely win it all, but it's all about not overlooking. You can't overlook anybody. You just can't look ahead, or you can't just look back. It's all about the present to me. I think I was told one time, if you look too far into the future, you will be doomed in the present.
That is a very good quote. That's absolutely right.
Something like that.
And I feel the same way. It's way too early to tell, but right now I expect Clemson to be the powerhouse they were last year. They lost some players, but they're still pretty dang dominant. And Alabama, they should be. I think we should see both these teams back in the college football playoff again this year. I don't see why not. They're both extremely dominant teams. They're both in their peaks right now, I feel like, or pretty close to it, or dynasty, whatever you want to call it, but they're playing great football. I expect to see both these teams finishing at least in the top 10, even if they don't get in the college football playoff this year. We shall see. But anyway, so enough of the FBS. Let's get into the FCS real quick, man. The Bison. Don't forget, the school where Carson Wentz came from, of course. The Eagles quarterback, Carson Wentz, and of course, new to the NFL. I think he went to the Jaguars. But he is Mr. Easton Stick, the quarterback who succeeded Carson Wentz at North Dakota State. The Buffaloes, man. Speaking of Eastern Washington, they were just in. They're taking on UW. They were just in the FCS championship last year, and they lost this one. But it was a 34-24 victory for the Bison. They won their seventh national championship in the last 8 years. All but one. won, man. They lost in the semifinal in 2016 to James Madison, to JMU, to the Dukes, and the Dukes went on to win the national championship. But if they wouldn't have lost that game in 2016, they probably could have gone. Not trying to say they would have won the national championship. I forgot who was playing that year in the national championship versus JMU. But regardless, can you believe that, Taryn? If North Dakota State would have won it all in 2016, they would have won the last 8 years straight.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And you said Easton Stick. I believe he is on the Chargers now.
Oh, the Chargers. He's a Charger. Sorry about that. He's a Charger.
Yeah, he's the backup quarterback. And yesterday, he had a solid and a meh performance. He did throw a costly pick, which gave the Saints the win. But, it's just preseason.
All right, well, there you go. I mean, but yeah, man, so what do you think? I mean, Bison, is that they're going to be yet another dominant year for this team? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think the Bison can actually dominate this year. They've got some interesting games. They got Butler. They got North Dakota, the Battle of North Dakota. Mm-hmm. They face UC Davis, which should be interesting. You said UC Davis will be improved. I say that is definitely correct. Illinois State looks interesting. South Dakota State, the Battle of the Dakotas, looks also good. So I'm definitely interested to see what North Dakota State has to offer. And if they can continue their dominance, this team can be the new Alabama / Clemson of NCAA.
Oh yeah, the FCS for sure. I think they should just move up, man. Like seriously, why can't they just be be a freaking low Division I school now? I mean, Division I single A, they've proven themselves. So I don't know. We shall see. Next up, go ahead.
Oh yeah. On that note, I actually do need to talk about that. I think that would be a good idea because I think the CIF Southern section does that when it comes to some of these high school teams, so they don't, which is basically playoff equity, and I think that should be the same thing for North Dakota State. If they continue their dominance, they should definitely move up to Division I, which would be a great idea since you want to have playoff equity. You don't want to have one team just running the table and winning it all year after year, because that just takes the fun out of the sport and the competitiveness. So I think if the committee can definitely look into playoff equity, that would definitely help out college sports.
I agree. I think it's time that the Bison move up, man. You win 7 of the last 8 years. Yeah, you kind of need to move up a little bit. So, next up here, we have Valdosta State, Division II. So we're just working our way backwards, man. Valdosta State defeating Ferris State last year, 49-47 in an incredible game. The Blazers earned their 4th national championship in program history and their first since 2012, man. This team out of Georgia looking pretty tough, man. They made it all the way there. They got there and defeated a tough Ferris State team. Big shout out to Miss Caitlin Seam, who lived next to Ferris State over there in Michigan when she lived there. Or she grew up there, she said. But yeah, man, Valdosta State, what a good season for these guys. Division II is awesome. The year before this, we had Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, I believe, or I forgot who it was. I know they were the Lions. It was Texas A&M. It was a Texas A&M school that won it 2 years ago, but really crazy story. The quarterback, Perez, was a bowler in high school. Wasn't even a college quarterback. I mean, it was awesome. But the Lions, man, they look good. They really, really, really. Last year, they would get chomped out early on, but yeah. And I'm trying to think. It wasn't Corpus Christi. It was Texas A&M something. And how could I forget them? Anyway, now I feel like a dum-dum. But regardless, I'll go ahead and take a quick look at it here. But with that said, your thoughts on Valdosta State this year? Can they do it again, Taryn? Or is Division II just too wide open?
Yeah, I think Division II is still wide open, but I think Valdosta State returns one of their quarterbacks. I believe it's Rogan Wells or Durham, but either way, I believe I read that they did return a junior quarterback or sophomore quarterback. One of their quarterbacks definitely returns from this year, so I expect whichever quarterback does return manages to just pick up where the other one left off, because I'm 100% certain that one of those quarterbacks, Durham or Wells, was a was a senior last year, and the other one was like a sophomore and is now a junior. So I definitely think the other one can pick up where the first one left off, and we'll see how it goes.
I agree.
You don't rebuild, you gotta reload.
I agree. So, with that, it was Texas A&M Commerce. Sorry about that, guys. And Perez is actually the player of the year that year at quarterback. But yeah, that was also when they took on West Florida, and that was Florida's first ever. That's their second year, I think, being a program. So how crazy you make it all the way to the final in their second year, I think, or was their first year? I don't know. But the Argonauts, tough go for them. But yeah, as you can see, Division II is very unpredictable, and let's see if Valdosta State can return. Going on to the Stag Bowl, y'all, in Division III. Well. If you don't know Division III and the Stag Bowl, it is awesome. The Crusaders, man, last year, UMHB, University of Mary Hardin Baylor, incredible team. I mean, just these two went at it last year, of course. I'm talking about Mount Union, basically the Alabama or the North Dakota State of Division III. I mean, they've won like 20 titles or something like that, or they've been to the Stag Bowl like 20 times, I think, since like 93 or something like that. It's incredible how many times they've been there. But Mount Union, you can't talk Division III football without talking Mount Union. I mean, they've done it, and they beat the Crusaders in a defensive game. It was like 12-0 or 12-10. I think it was 12-10. I think the year before that. And wouldn't you know it, they played this year, and it's cool because it's the first time Stag Bowl has been removed from Virginia since like 1993, and in that time Mount Union like dominated. Well, they went down to Texas this past time. I think that was the last one. I'm sorry. I think that was the last one in Virginia, in Salem. And then they're moving down to Texas next year, which is going to be kind of, near Mary Hardin Baylor. And then after that, the Stag Bowl's going to be moving on up to Ohio, which is going to be near Mount Union. So it's kind of cool because, like these two teams are dominant, and they're going to be playing they're kind of a home game for these teams if the Stag Bowl, if they were to make it there. Like saying, we don't know what can happen. But regardless, last year the Crusaders have done it. They got this thing done. They defeated Mount Union 24-16. The Crusaders would earn their second national championship in program history and their second in the last 3 years. That's awesome. That's saying something as they win the Stag Bowl, and big ups to that team. But Mount Union is certainly no one to overlook. I think they're going to be going to at it again. The purple schools, one of them purple and black, one of them purple and gold. We shall see. But what do you think, Taryn? Your thoughts on this crazy story in the Division III?
So I look at some of these teams, and I definitely think any of those teams in Division III can win it all. So it's still wide open, still early. Anything can happen. Hopefully we have a good season where most players are healthy. So we'll see how it goes.
I hope so as well. And then we get into the NAIA. Morningside, man. Big ups to Morningside. My buddy, Mr. Randy Madrigal, went there and played there after high school about 10 years ago. Around there. I think his last year was 2010 because we were 07 in high school. But he played for this school, and here they are, man, a couple years later after he graduated, and they defeated Benedictine 35-28. The Mustangs would earn their first ever national championship in program history, and the NAIA is just where it's at, in my opinion, man. Such great athletes, just come out of there for sure, but their schedule is super cool. Ranked versus ranked games almost every week. You play ranked games all season long, and in the tournament, it is very even. I just really like the NAIA, man, and Morningside. So what do you think about Morningside coming back this year, man?
So yeah, Morningside, they definitely have a great schedule. I don't know if it fully indicates it, but they're playing number 24 Dordt College, and they're playing at the end of the season number 11 Northwestern College. So those are two games definitely watch for. Last year Morningside went undefeated, I believe it was. No, I'm sorry, that's another team I'm looking at. But I definitely think Morningside has what it takes. But you just can't overlook it, and you can't get that championship hangover. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'd be pretty neat to see them do it again. That'd be cool. Also, next up in the CCAA, California. Of course, you and I know a thing or two about that. I played in it. You went to OCC. I played for RCC. I mean, such a super cool conference, college conference or division or whatever you want to call it, in junior college. Man, last year, Laney, which I did remember seeing a video, I got to go watch it, from Flembo Raps, by the way. Big shout out to him on YouTube. He said that next year's Last Chance U might be going to Laney, so that'd be pretty cool to see the California JUCO route, as he likes to call it. And yeah, definitely not the NJCAA. We don't get no scholars. We don't get none of that. We don't get no housing, none of that. When I saw Last Chance U, I was like, wait, this kid's getting scholars and stuff like that? Well, I didn't get none of that. So yeah, CCAA is a little more harsher than the NJCAA. There's no offers, no none of that, no nothing. But it'd be pretty cool to see. So, with that said, it'd be pretty cool to see this route, though. See them, show the JUCO route. But Laney would get it done last year, defeating Ventura 40-35. The Eagles win their first ever national championship in school history, winning a title there, North versus South in the CCAA. And, well, North would defeat the South last year. So, your thoughts on this one? Do you think Laney can do it again, or what do you think about Ventura this year? What do you think?
Ventura to me looks definitely promising. Last year they had a freshman quarterback, and if he returns, they definitely can make another run to it. Ventura has always been an impressive program, so we'll see how it goes for Laney. Them being the NorCal school, but I definitely like Ventura this year. They definitely look very promising. Riverside City definitely looks promising as well, so we could see those two teams back in it again. For me, I'm just hoping Orange Coast College or OCC manages to get back on track. They had 1 year where they were 7-3, and then they made a bowl game, and then they kind of fell off after a little bit of a coaching shuffle. So I definitely want OCC to make it back on top, and to me, they're actually the only college football I can pretty much watch, considering Long Beach State sadly doesn't have a college football team. But so OCC fans, I may make my return, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, that'll be awesome, Jared. And of course, restore the roar, baby! Big shout out to RCC, my team, man. I'm a former Tiger, so definitely awesome experience playing there. And loved it. So with that said, there we go. And last but not least, Last Chance U fans. Well, hey, they got it done last year. Well, the first season of Last Chance U, this first and second season. The Lions of East Mississippi. The Lions have done it. East Mississippi defeats Garden City 10-9 in a very defensive game, low scoring battle there. And that's more of my thought in the low scoring game, Terrence. Sorry, I don't know why I said low scoring earlier when I went in the 20s, but East Mississippi would defeat Garden City 10-9, and the Lions claim their fifth NJCAA National Championship in program history, and their fifth in the last 7 years. Talk about a monopoly. Why not monopoly? We'll talk about some dominance there, Taryn. Your thoughts on East Mississippi this year?
So once again, I definitely think they can get the job done. They're facing some stiff. I don't know what it is, but they have a lot of Thursday games. I don't know what that's about. But Saturday, they have only one Saturday game, which is their homecoming game against Northeast Mississippi. So I don't know if it's different in different states on playing Thursday games instead of Saturday games. But definitely looking forward to East Mississippi. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, it should be a pretty good season for all college football. And I'm just so excited that it's back, man. So here we go. Got a couple games coming up this week. Next week we'll return with this time I jumped the gun, but we'll be returning with lots and lots of our picks and just all kinds of good stuff. So we're ready to rock and roll. Taryn, man, hey, if you want to stay on with us for the season, man, we'll be talking college football if you're down.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. And I'm also, did we also talk about Mary Hardin and Baylor?
Yeah, we just talked to Division III.
Oh, yeah, but, it's an astounding stat is that Mary Hardin and Baylor last year went undefeated. That's the team who went undefeated. And I meant to bring this up. They didn't allow any of their opponents to score in the 20s last year, so that's very impressive. The lowest Mary Hardin and Baylor scored was 21. But other than that, their opponents did not score 20 or more points, so that's very impressive. I'll be interested to see if they can do that again. I meant to tell that to you, but I guess I must have missed it somehow, so we'll see how it goes.
It's all good, man. But yeah, so it's definitely going to be a pretty good little pretty good season of college football, man. I'm so excited that it's back, and there you go. So, Taryn, with that said, man, we went almost 2 hours straight with no commercials.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Time flies when you're having fun and talking football.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, well, that will do it. Stay tuned, y'all. As a matter of fact, well, let's go ahead and kick the music, man. With that said, Taryn, where can these diehard football fans find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Taryn Rodriguez1. My first name, Taryn, is spelled T-E-R-A-N, and then my last name, Rodriguez, has a G in it, and then the number 1. So once again, that's at Taryn Rodriguez1. You can find me talking all kinds of sports, covering high school sports, probably talking about the Angels and how they're starting to reach up, starting to climb a little, but more so of the fact that I'm just whining about them.
Yeah, you and me both. And with that said, you can follow me, your boy Larry, at THEE_LB53. Follow us all as a whole on Twitter at iSports Radio, and on Instagram. Check us out on iSports Radio as well, on iSportsRadio.com. Show us some love, y'all. Get at us. Get on our blog. We got to get back on that thing. And hey, check us out all season long. I'll be right back at you. College football has returned. Cue the music, because we're out of here, y'all. For me, your boy Larry B. For my co-host, Mr. Taryn Rodriguez. And for all my co-hosts who will be joining us, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, Miss Stephanie, Mr. Christian Espinosa, and Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, signing off. We will see y'all next week. Stay tuned, y'all. Talking some tennis with Mr. Calvin Vandergrift and Mr. Matt Owens of USRN here on First Serve, coming up right now, immediately following the outro of the show. So once again, stay tuned for First Serve with Mr. Calvin Vandergrift and Mr. Matt Owens, and we'll see y'all next week. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.